Super 93.3 FM Portaka. Good morning. 3 minutes past 8 o'clock. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning, and I hope you're doing just fine. So my name is Obi Ivy. Good to have you on the Super Breakfast Show this Wednesday, the 27th of July, 2022. And, it's a special day, one of our very own here at Super FM is celebrating his birthday. And just special greetings to Miss Alabi, who's the head of marketing. Amazing, fantastic, competent man. And we say a big shout out, big congratulations, and pray for God's continued blessings and protection on your life. My name is Obi Ivy. Good to have you on the show. So let's quickly look at the reviews. Let's do the review and look at the stories that have made headlines today. And there are quite a number of controversial stories. I'm telling you, today's stories are pretty interesting. Stay with me. Let's take a look at these ones. And don't forget, go straight to our Instagram at SuperFM 93.3 and leave a comment. I want to take your comment on Instagram. Facebook is already open as well. Super FM PH. Go over there. We're streaming live as well on Super FM PH on YouTube and and Facebook at Super FM PH, YouTube and Facebook. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as to follow us across social media. All right, moving away from this right now, according to the NSCDC, that is the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, bandits, terrorists planning attacks on Lagos, FCT, Katsina, and 3 other states. Now, this is carried in the Vanguard. It's also carried in a few of the other newspapers as well. But according to the NCDC, following intelligence reports that Boko Haram terrorists, as well as those of Islamic State West Africa Province, ISWAP, have heightened plots to attack the nation's capital, Abuja, and 5 other states, including Lagos. Now, this came as military sources confirmed yesterday that a lieutenant and 5 soldiers were still missing after last Sunday's attack on the troops of 7 Guards Battalion and 176 Battalion of Guards Brigade by terrorists in Abuja, and this left an army captain dead. Now, in the leaked memo that was dated Monday, the 25th of July, this particular memo signed by the Deputy Commandant General, DCG Operations, Dauda Mungadi, which was addressed to all state commands of the NSCDC. The Corps said 2 separate bandit groups have also concluded plans to attack Abuja and other states. And the memo reads, "We have received credible intelligence that Boko Haram and the ISWAP terrorist groups have mobilized fighters and high-caliber weapons, particularly rocket-propelled grenades, RPG, launchers, anti-aircraft, AA, guns, and general-purpose machine guns, which they intend to deploy for the offensive in Katsina State." Now, in another development, 2 separate bandits groups are plotting coordinated attacks on Northwest, North Central, and Southwest, that is Katsina, Zamfara, Kaduna, Kogi, Federal Capital Territory, and Lagos, respectively. And consequently, the Commandant General has directed every single one of the NSCDC to scale up deployment in all strategic places, including schools, worship centers, and critical national assets in their respective states to checkmate any possible threats by these criminal elements, and they've asked that this be treated as urgent. Now, again, we don't know what this, what the federal government, what service chiefs are going to do with this intel. Now, don't forget also there's a report presently in the cable news that says that 44 were received and they were sent by the DSS, sort of like preempting or or predicting the attack at the Kuje Medium Protection Correctional Facility. And it's quite incredible, you know. I'll just read a bit of that so that you can see it. Now, the Deputy Speaker, DSS, shared 44 intelligence reports before Kuje prison attack. And this is coming from what's it called now? The Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Idris Wase. Now, he says the Department of State Service, DSS, shared 44 intelligence reports before the attack on the correctional facility in Kuje. And he made the remarks while speaking on a motion sponsored by Abubakar Yalemen from Jigawa State on the need to halt the federal government's proposed nationwide ban on commercial motorcycles. Now, this is another report, the proposed ban by the federal government, and the federal government is still thinking about it, still having conversations about it, because most of the attacks that have been carried out in recent times have been done with men riding on motorcycles, you know, and you would think that they should be easy targets, you know, for security operatives who are supposed to go after these people, or who are supposed to, you know, be on the offensive or be on the defensive or whatever. You know, you would think that men on motorcycles would be easy targets, you know, but that hasn't been the case, because oftentimes they've gone on challenged and they've carried out their attacks. And now, remember also that on the 5th of July, these men on motorcycles attacked the correctional facility in the Federal Capital Territory and freed hundreds of inmates, including suspected Boko Haram members. Now, Wase said, though the ban on commercial motorcycles will affect transportation system in local areas, it is necessary to check insecurity. Now, that is also true, but for the most part, we also know that it could have a devastating effect on security when people are out of work. And we know that in many parts of the country, especially in the north, it's like the major, besides agriculture, it's one of the major sources of income and main source of transportation, or means of transportation for a lot of people. So it will have effects on business, on the economy, on security, and what have you. So yeah, while that's important, I think the federal government and the government in general should think of what to do in the interim, or to do as a buffer. You know, you don't take one thing away and leave the people without anything to fall back on. And that being said, 2 days over the weekend, there were reports that some police officers in some parts of River State have already started seizing bikes of people, seizing the motorcycles of some riders, even before the federal government has issued such bans. Some officers in some parts of the state, River State, have already started, seizing and extorting money from bikers and the likes, and it is quite troubling. It is. All right, moving away from there now real quick. House of Representatives consider bill to ban CBN governor from involvement in partisan politics. A bill seeking to bar the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria from getting involved in partisan politics has passed second reading at the House of Representatives. Now, the proposed legislation also seeks to prohibit the deputy governor and directors of the CBN from participating in partisan politics while in office. The bill, which aims to amend the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN Act of 2007, is sponsored by Sada Soli, a lawmaker from Katsina State. Now, the bill, according to them, is not really targeted at any person in particular. It's not prejudiced to anyone because the act was tested and it was found to be weak, and so it needs to be strengthened. That's what they're saying. We need to strengthen the CBN as the last lender of the resort of the federal, the last lender for the federal government of Nigeria, the lender of last resort. All right, but again, you know that I'm waiting to hear what you think of these ones. So go ahead to our Instagram page at SuperFM 93.3 and drop your comment. or go on Facebook at Super FMPH and drop your comment as well. Now, the attack on the president's guard in Abuja, there have been conflicting reports as to the number of injured and the number of casualties. This one report here says we recorded 3 casualties. Army speaks on attack on presidential guard, and this is carried in the cable news. Now, it says it recorded 3 casualties while when its troops from the Guards Brigade 7 Battalion ran into an ambush by gunmen on Sunday. Now, the battalion is a unit under the Guards Brigade, which is responsible for protecting the president. And the soldiers were said to be on routine patrol along the Kubwa Buari Road when they ran into the ambush. And the cable reported that 3 soldiers sustained injuries from the attack and were removed to the Army's hospital. And speaking yesterday, Godfrey Abakpa, a spokesperson to the brigade, said no soldier was abducted by the gunmen, but the troops recorded 3 casualties in the encounter. And I'll quote him. He says, "No soldier was abducted. We only had 3 casualties, and they were evacuated." He also said the troops had dislodged the criminals from the area and had continued an exploitation operation within the vicinity of the attack. Now, it's also been assumed, and it is proposed or alleged that this particular bandit group were planning to attack the law school in Abuja when they were confronted or when they were run into by these military officers and these soldiers. Unfortunately, the reports that we're getting are pretty conflicting, to say the least, Now, according to the Nation newspaper, 2 officers, 6 soldiers killed in attack on presidential guards, and the two officers and 6 soldiers attached to the Guards Brigade were killed in the Sunday ambush by terrorists in Buari, in the suburb of the Federal Capital Territory. And their bodies, according to the Brigade's International Situation Report, have found that their bodies have been dumped. Now, it's cited yesterday that, according to the Nation newspaper, it gave the names of the 2 officers simply as Captain Samuel and Lieutenant Jauro. But, the report, again, is, as I said, quite conflicting. The report confirmed that 3 soldiers were injured. The wounded, according to the report, were evacuated to the Army's hospital in Abuja for treatment. The report added that the terrorists were within Buari and possibly to carry out their plans of attacking the Nigerian Law School in Buari, as earlier reported. But before the Nation cited the report, the brigade had said it lost only 3 soldiers, as I said. 3 soldiers, 3 of the members of the, to the attackers. But it dismissed report that 5 soldiers were whisked away, were carried away into captive by the terrorists. No soldiers were abducted. This is what it said initially. We only had 3 casualties, and they were evacuated. But unfortunately, the governor of Kogi State, shortly after that, said 2 out of the 3 fallen gallant soldiers were illustrious sons of his state. And in a statement by the Chief Press Secretary, Mohammed Onogwo, the Governor Bello, commiserated with the families of the deceased. Now, if you've just tuned in, it's still Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt, and we're looking at today's headlines. In the Vanguard, terrorists kidnap over 30 in Kaduna community. 30 residents of Keke community near the Millennium City, Kaduna, were reportedly kidnapped by terrorists in an attack carried out on Monday night, and it was reported yesterday. Now, a resident told journalists yesterday that the hoodlums stormed the community around 8:30 p.m. when residents were returning home from their various places of work, and he said they came during the heavy rain last night, and they went away with many people, including women and children. Although the army came in about 30 minutes, even though they said that operation lasted for about 2 hours, The army came in about 30 minutes later, within the 2 hours, but unfortunately went to KKA town while the attack was happening at KKB village. So that just, set the army back quite badly in such a way that the terrorists, were able to abduct about 30 people. And according to this same report, there are still some people who are still being held by the terrorists from the same community. According to the person who spoke to journalists, he said this is the 4th time that these bandits have attacked their community, and that the last time they paid about 20 million out of the 30 million that the bandits had requested for, but that they still did not release people. They still did not release people that they were asking for the 10 million naira, and that 3 people from those who were abducted were killed and their bodies dumped, and now they have carried away about 30 people on Monday night, breaking Tuesday morning. All right, moving away from that now, let's talk politics in Rivers State. According to the Accord governorship candidate, Dumolulu Briggs, he says PDP is afraid of open contest in Rivers State, and this is also covered in the Vanguard newspaper. The governorship candidate has said that the People's Democratic Party, PDP, was afraid of an open contest in the 2023 general election, and this was as the PDP has dragged the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Accord, and some candidates of the party to court, seeking the disqualification of the candidates. Now, according to the governorship candidate of the Accord party, he said, PDP is dragging them to court, stating that they did not conduct their affairs quite properly. In the suit, PDP is challenging the conduct of the primaries of the Accord, praying the court to compel INEC not to recognize the candidates who are mainly that of National Assembly seats. Now, in the same suit, PDP is the plaintiff, while INEC first defendant and Accord second defendant. But what's amazing or ironic is the fact that every single member of the Accord party who took part in the primaries came out quite content, and no one is in court saying, oh, my party didn't do well. No one is dragging their party to court, as we have seen is the case in many cases when it comes to electoral cases and the likes. But in this case, the PDP is dragging the Accord that they did not conduct their primaries properly. And INEC, is saying, well, we were there, we supervised the entire thing as stipulated by the Electoral Act, and there was no cause for any of this, but they're in court. Well, the Accord party governorship candidate is saying that the PDP is afraid of open contest. Otherwise, why would they be dragging, people to court left, right, and center? Don't forget as well that the PDP has also dragged Labour Party, dragged the APC to court. But I don't know what you make of this. You let me know. Now, there is a report, it's a rumor that the Rivers State government dismisses that there's a marriage task force on the loose, so to speak. But the Rivers State government dismisses this viral report on marriage task force, and it is also in the Vanguard newspaper. Now, Rivers State government has described as fake news the viral report alleging that Governor Nyesom Wike has set up a marriage monitoring task force in the state. Kelvin Ebiri, media aide to the governor, in a statement yesterday said the government considers as spurious and morally offensive the viral report alleging that the state has ordered that any Rivers man willing to marry must have at least 5 million naira or a property in the equivalent of the stipulated amount. Amazing, right? And the report went on to say that the state will not hesitate to take necessary legal action against the purveyors of this malicious news if they don't desist from their morally reprehensible act. All right, let's move away from that now and look at the Punch newspaper. In the Punch, account for $1 billion security fund, Otom tells federal government. Benue State Governor Samuel Otom on Tuesday challenged the federal government of Nigeria to give account of the $1 billion security funds jointly put together by the 36 states of the Federation to fight insurgency in the country. Now, Governor Otom stated this while addressing journalists at the Government House, Makurdi, shortly after the commencement of the State Security Council meeting. And the governor wondered why the federal government what the federal government had done with the money that insecurity has continued to escalate in the country. And he said he had mandated his deputy, Benson Abonu, who represented him at a virtual meeting of the Nigerian Governors Forum, to seek clarifications on the matter. He said, what have they done with the $1 billion the Governors Forum gave on behalf of the local governments for security? That money is huge. What have they done with the money that terrorists will kidnap citizens without any rescue mission? And he went on to say it is even more worrisome and unthinkable that terrorists will threaten to kidnap our president. If that happens, that means we have no country again. End of quote. Now, do not forget the reports. Don't forget that there have been reports carried in several newspapers about, the threats by the insurgents. In the videos that were released over the weekend, where the terrorists were seen flogging those kidnapped from the Abuja-Kaduna train attack that took place about 121 days ago. And in that particular video, they were threatening to kidnap not only the president, but the governor of Kaduna State as well, El Rufai. And imagine if such a thing were to happen. Just imagine it. Don't forget also that early last week or late week before last, in the news as well, in almost all the front pages of the national dailies, it was seen that 2 officers were killed who were attached to the convoy of the president when he visited, Katsina. And it was quite disheartening to see that they had the guts to attack the president's convoy. Thankfully, the president was not in it, was not in that particular entourage. So, whether they got intel of such an attack and so he wasn't there, but whatever the case, it's a relief that he wasn't even there to witness such a thing as that. And it would have just been a huge insult. And it still is a slap, really, on our sovereignty and on our defense system in the country. If you've just joined, it's Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt, and shortly I'll be opening the phone lines to get your report. Now, this report is about a lady who stole a baby. She has been apprehended as well. She stole a 3-day-old baby from someone who showed her kindness. And I think it is quite sad. It is, absolutely. Woman held for stealing newborn in Ibadan, and she was apprehended in Lagos. Now, according to the report, she met the lady in the hospital. She herself had a stillbirth, so she was referred to the hospital for scan. There she met another lady who had come for immunization for her 3-day-old baby. And she got friendly with the lady, tried to engage the lady in a conversation and told her about how she, was looking for accommodation in the area. And the lady had compassion and invited her home, so she could stay with her and then help her search for a house of her own. But unfortunately, that night, she tied the baby, wrapped the baby in her back and went out. Thankfully, the lady immediately involved the police, and thank God that the baby was, and the lady was apprehended, and the baby was rescued the very next day. All right, in the Punch, Sean Cultism, NYSC DG, tells new corps members, and don't forget that new corps members of the Batch 2 of the year have been called to camp, Batch B rather, Stream 2. Corps members, they have been charged and urged to shun cultism, drug abuse, and other vices. And this is coming from the Director General of the National Youth Service Corps Scheme, Brigadier General Mohammed Fada. Yes, and he made this call only yesterday, and he told them to use the platform to promote national unity. And that's what the NYC, was initially meant for, but insecurity has made it so that people are just afraid of traveling and afraid of discovering the other parts of the country and getting to meet new people, make connections, and build lasting relationships and bonds that will help foster unity in the country, and just build that spirit of oneness in the whole of Nigeria. But many things are tugging, many things are poking at our unity and our harmony in Nigeria. All right, moving away now. The House of Reps deny planning Gbajabiamila's sacking over water bill. Yes, the House of Representatives has resolved to investigate an impeachment report of the Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, allegedly moved by some lawmakers, especially from the north, over the consideration and passage of the controversial National Water Resources Bill. Now, this was disclosed at a press conference held to dismiss a media report, not by the Punch, although, which claimed that some lawmakers are pushing for passage of the bill were threatening the Speaker with impeachment. Now, the leaders of the main caucus, as well as the spokesman for the lower chamber, jointly held a press conference after the plenary yesterday. And in attendance were the majority leader, Al-Hassan Ado Doguwa from the APC, minority leader, Ndudi Elumelu from the PDP, Chairman Northern Caucus, Musa Sarkinada from APC, and Chairman House Committee on Rules and Business, Abubakar Fulata, APC as well, amongst other people. And they're saying, and I'll quote, "Let me state clearly that what has been published, that members of the northern origin are plotting to impeach the Speaker, is a malicious lie aimed at planting seeds of discord among Nigerians." And this is coming from Sarkin Ada, and he is the majority leader in the House. All right, so this last one now is from the ongoing protest by the Nigeria Labour Congress. And the Labour is giving the federal government 2 weeks to meet ASUU's demand. And it made this threat while observing the national body's directive to embark on a protest to pressure the federal government into meeting ASUU's demand towards ending the over 6 months old industrial action. Is it 6 months yet? Almost 6 months. Now, also as part of its activities, the national headquarters of the NLC has directed all affiliate unions to converge in Abuja today for a mega rally. And the mega rally is part of the 2 days of protest in support of striking university workers who are seeking reformation of Nigeria's university system. And today's rally might precede a 3-day warning strike on Thursday, as earlier reported, should the federal government fail to resolve the issues around the strike. And the notice of the rally was released at the Pascal Bafiau Labour House in Abuja yesterday and signed by Comrade Bello Ismail for the General Secretary, Comrade Emmanuel Uwaja. Now, the protest is ongoing, and in Rivers State, for instance, we've got two factions. One is the faction of Comrade Beatrice Itubo, who is also the Labour Party's governorship candidate for the forthcoming election. And the other faction is led by Comrade Emeche Tachuku, who is insisting that Beatrice Itubo doesn't have a right to call for the protest, to chair it, to lead it, or to champion it even, stating that she is not supposed to be holding on to that position, considering that she's trying to run for governor. Labour is apolitical, and it may take a political turn. You know, it may take a political turn. And in the conversation yesterday with the comrade Emeche Tachuku, he's stating also that what if all the other candidates of the different political parties take to the streets in solidarity or whatever of some cause against the federal government, it will be a case of anarchy. And so, I mean, it's wrong on all levels, is wrong no matter how you look at it, for Comrade Beatrice to be championing this one. But anyways, these are the stories and much more that you'll find on our social media pages and, of course, on the front pages of newspapers. I'll just do a quick recap right here. And, okay. Now, Igbo group demands probe of Imo massacre. I entered into covenant with shared prosperity with Imo people as my asset. And this is coming from Governor Hope Uzodimma. Yeah, IMF retains Nigeria's 2022 growth prospect at 3.4%. ASU strike, Falana, popular senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, joins NLC protest, and he says Buhari is tired. Workers say we are tired of ASU strike without end. INEC decries poor collection of PVC in Rivers State, and this is so true. The National Electoral Commissioner rather, spoke yesterday, released a press brief insisting that the collection rate of PVCs in Rivers State is pretty low, that there are many, quite a number of PVCs yet to be collected. I'll just read a bit of what was said. Now, the continuous voter registration commenced nationwide online on 28 June 2021. And it says our INEC registration officers and other staff at the local government offices have been working assiduously throughout the registration exercise. From our records, 278,417 new voters were registered, as well as 127,670 voter transfers and 43,080 PVC replacements as at 24th July 2022. With regards to the distribution of new PVCs, 54,945 have been received, but only 10,373 so far have been collected, leaving an outstanding 44,572 for transfers and replacement of 16,949 received. Only 1,790 have so far been collected. And from the old PVCs, we have on record 302,297 cards, but only 33,575 have been collected. And he went on in this press release to say, I must be emphatic here and put on record that the collection of the PVCs has been abysmally low. With 7 months to go on the 2023 general election, we urge the people of Rivers State to collect their PVCs in good time and not to wait until the last minute. And this is coming from Mrs. May Agbamuche Mbu, Supervising National Commissioner at the INEC head office in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. And this was released day before yesterday. All right, INEC decries, okay, Rivers government dismisses viral report on marriage task force, voluntary retirement. NNPC offers exit packages for 500 employees. PDP is afraid of open contest in Rivers State. This is according to Lulu Briggs. Lagos Kano Delta in the lead as INEC registered 11 million voters between June 2021 and July 2022. Terrorists kidnap over 30 in Kaduna community. Woo! You need to go over. Now, this is another very interesting report here. The Nigerian government says there is not much it can do it says no immediate solutions to current aviation fuel crisis. And the federal government is saying there is not much it can do at the moment for aviation fuel provision. Remember that Aero Contractors has locked shop and they have suspended activities because of high cost of operation, and that has plunged a number of their staff, if not all of them, into the job market at the moment, and it is quite troubling. I don't know if you sometimes feel like you don't recognize this country with all the things that we're dealing with at the same time. But anyways, let me quickly go to the phone lines right about now, and they are open: 07050791021 and 08117431021. It's Super FM Port Harcourt. Good morning.
Good morning, my lovely sister.
Good morning, sir. Welcome.
AB from Port Harcourt.
AB, so good to have you. Go ahead.
46 intelligence report
44.
given to the 44, right?
Yes.
Before the attack of Kuje prison, and
Yes,
nothing happened. And there is also a threat right now that they are going to attack some cities, including Lagos, Abuja, and whatever.
Yes.
My sister, I wish you would have the clip of late Melafia's speech. Let me rephrase and quote him. We interacted with repentant Boko Haram, and they told us that the sitting governor and some prominent people are sponsoring the activity. And there is a plan also to kidnap people in the urban areas. And when they finish 2022, they are going to do what? Declare war. Now, what is happening? They are kidnapping, collecting millions of naira in order to purchase arms. Then what is the plan? 2022 we are in now. And what is happening? We can see that these people are interested. When they can give a threat to a sitting president, if they kidnap a president by any means, it means that Nigeria has been kidnapped. There is no country anymore. And these people, that's their target. This is the Taliban process of taking over the country. And it is not playing out. And our military men are folding their hands. Pushing innocent people in the southeast, even our innocent youth, who will defend my land when the time comes, because these people are up to something. We can see what is happening.
All right, thank you so much, sir. AB, thank you. Super FM Port Harcourt, good morning.
Good morning, the very distinguished. How are you doing this morning?
Very good to have you on the program. Mr. Temple Okere, go ahead.
Yes, so we recorded 3 casualties. The army speaks on attack on the presidential gatherings. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I think as far as I'm concerned, they will continue to give us a conflicting report, because telling us the true position of what transpired is like telling us that the government of Muhammad Buhari has failed woefully. But on the issue of the National Assembly, telling me that they want to ban the CBN chief from getting involved in partisan politics, my dear, as far as I'm concerned, the politicians remain a politician. What I think they should be doing now is, appointing somebody who has no political undertone, a person that has no, a kind of political rationalization as far as political parties are concerned. Somebody that is of a neutral body, right from the inception, so that when the person come on board, he won't even be engaged in kind of political talks from whatsoever angle. So that is what I think they should be pushing forward. But as far as INEC is concerned, tell INEC, when they started the voters registration, they started going from word to word. Is there anything bad if they also engage from word to word campaign in making sure that the people who registered or people who did transfer will get their PVC? Because when we talk about HA here, HA is a vast local government. And the council, not everybody can access the council. And when you look at the road now on construction, so the road is too bad. It's too bad. And the construction work will stop people from getting access to the council. So I think if they should go from word to word, people will comply in getting their PVC. That is my humble opinion.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Super FM Port Harcourt, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Welcome to the program, sir.
This is Chukwudi from Ogi.
Good to have you on the program. Go ahead.
Yes, groups need to probe Imo massacre.
Yes, please.
I don't know why we have men of noble characters in that state that are sitting down, watch things happen. This massacre we are talking about is becoming one too many in Imo State. And I don't know why such a thing must happen. In the emergence of this governor, all those of them, things are not supposed to be in that way. Youth, innocent youth are that. We have insecurity all over the country. And over in the north, they have not declared the Operation Python that, Operation this and that.
But if it is in our side, ordinary, in fact, nothing will happen. Then you see them clamping on you. It's not good. So this group that want to probe the matter, they should do fast and do what they have to do. If it will happen that if it will do that, the governor will be then impeach him and let him move away.
All
right. I don't like.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Okay, on Facebook, Crespo Fufuo from Fufuo says, I'm watching you live at Fufuo, Kumasi, Ghana. Okay, well, thank you very much. Thank you so much, Mr. Crespo. It's very obvious that PDP are afraid to go into open contest with other political parties. PDP sue almost all the political parties in Port Harcourt to cut. It's no longer business as usual to PDP. Rivers people will decide on who will govern them, govern River State. And this is coming from Victor Peba. Thank you very much. Mr. Wiseman, thank you so much as well for reaching me. Okay, wow, quite a number of comments, but let me see how much I can take this morning. Bro Nge says, yes, I agree with Briggs that PDP is afraid of open contest in River State. Just imagine dragging almost all the political parties in River State to court. No, let them calm down. Let's all meet at the polls. Thank you very much. Comrade Barry says, good morning, presenter. I agree with Lulu Briggs. The Guba race in 2023 is not going to be a walkover by whoever that will win. My advice to any party projecting their candidates is that they should also have at the back of their minds that defeat is possible with Senator Magnus in the race because he is the choice. Okay, well, we'll find out as well. At the polls. The PDP in Rivers State should prepare for an open contest with other political parties in the 2023 general election in Rivers State. Vincent Bosi here is saying the election will be a test of the popularity and acceptability of every candidate. All right, for the governorship election, Senator Magnus Abe will be on. Okay, well, we'll see. Okwande Obina says the hypocrites can is ready to welcome Atiku, who married two Christians, one from the southeast and the other from the southwest, but rather to allow them to practice their Christian faith. He did not only convert them to Islam, but also change their names to Muslim names. Here are they condemning Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who not only married a Christian as wife for over 40 years, but allows her to practice her Christian faith and also allows her to build a parish in his compound. All right, but please, whose interests are protecting? That of Nigerian Christians or that of the PDP? Okay. Quite a number of comments here. Comrade Clinton says, Dumolulu Briggs just stated the obvious truth. PDP wants to walk in the park, but it is not going to happen. Rivers people will have the opportunity to choose their governor. All right, thank you. Noale Befi says, we recorded 3 casualties. Army speaks on attack. If the Nigerian army cannot defend itself, I wonder what we civilians will do. And people, let's pray for our brothers and sisters and friends in Abuja. Absolutely. Koate says the increase in spate of insecurity in states within Nigeria is not only worrisome, but call for serious concern from both the government and the citizens. Concerted efforts should be put in place to curtail the menace, but Rivers government dismisses viral report on marriage task force, a welcome development because it was a serious concern to the young ones in the state who have not married. At least they are now relieved. Okay. Whew. Celestine Pe says, good morning, Mr. Speaker. Hope Uzodinma, I will describe him like a governor that wants to carry his people at his heart. And I think that this is the way forward for all his people. May God help him. Thank you very much. Ogosu Solomon says Buhari should resign if he's tired because he's doing nothing to end insecurity and ASU strike. Kone Barry says 2023 PDP afraid to open contest in Rivers. Lulu Briggs. Of course, PDP is always afraid of open contest. They believe in carry-go government, but that has gone since 1990 and will not repeat in Rivers State with Senator Magnus. Okay. Thank you very much. Let PDP be ready to face it and stop cutting corners. Thank you very much. Sam Ekere says, Hope Uzodinma says he entered into covenant with shared prosperity in Imo State. This is ridiculous, or he lacks knowledge of the shared prosperity because, like the hashtag enters, Imo State youth's blood flow freely on the streets under his watch, and he has achieved near nothing except crisis in the state. Oguma Dwight says, Uzodinma is a curse to the people of him. Okay, this is unacceptable, brother. Unacceptable. Monday Bako says, Dumolulu Briggs is correct. PDP is afraid of open contest. Makachika says bandits terrorism in Nigeria is politicians in government fighting each other for juicy positions. Okay, one last call and that's it. Good morning, Super FM Port Harcourt.
Good morning to you, my lady.
All right, the real gift. Welcome.
Thank you very much. They said they lost 2 captains. I'm talking about the Presidential Guard, Abbey Brigade.
Yes, please. Go ahead. 2
captains and 1 soldier. No vex, I beg, my lady. How many of the attackers dead body they see?
It's not carried. It's not covered in any of the reports just yet.
But meanwhile, on the side of the Nigerian military, they lost person. And now, that means these people are getting the upper hand. Was it not the chief of defense staff or whoever that told us that these people don't get hiding place? If there's no hiding place for them, how come when they come attack, they are not killed, they go back, they finish, enter. And up till now, nowhere where you don't see them say, okay, we don't go bring out one. And you say they have no hiding place. Talking about this issue of the attack, I read 5 gunmen was the one that attacked the Kuje Correctional Center or prison.
Yeah.
5. Only 5. Was it that there was no security on that place? And don't forget that I think is it the Minister of Interior or whoever told us that that place is the minimum security, but the security they have on ground there is for maximum security facility, is it not? So where were they on that day when 5 gunmen, only 5, overran that place, freed as much as they wanted, went back, and up to do that, me and you, they talk so. Not even one person. They don't tell us they have been arrested. Oh my God, it's unfortunate. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, the real gift. Okay, and that's it. Unfortunately, I cannot take any more calls, but please leave me comments on social media. Send me text messages as well. Text line is 09059481021. I Am Properties comes your way just now. Do not change the dial. It's Super 93.3 FM, Port Harcourt.
We know what you want and how you want it.
We are Super FM. Yeah!
When I reach Poland and Colleen